I'm a be bitch, I'm the bad witch. I'm a be rich.
Happy day, bud friend. That is your favorite friendly entertainer. Stiggity motivator with the vibes that I greater. Your ennyarodasi. Puerto Rican girl. Featuring the tiger. Stiggity.
I'm a be bitch, I'm the bad witch. I'm a be rich.
Yeah, living in the science of monarchy and the
I'm
science
the
of
bad
living
witch.
in the
I'm a
science
be
of science of basic science, names and acronyms, science of origins and everything.
I'm a
Stiggity.
I'm the bad witch. I'm a be rich.
Alright, so we have to clean our nose, our kitchen stuff. And we need to use our lighting. Our lighting is off. Very nice. So, this is our fit today. And we need some lotion. It's to moisturize. Needs to moisturize. Alright, so have some new conditioner. So we'll see how my hair dries. Sometimes, it doesn't curl. Sometimes it stays in a wave. No, we're not using slop for animations. We are stickity. So I was watching this thing on Snapchat, and it was about this lady in her 50s or something, and she looked like she was older than she was, and she had traveled to Mexico, and for something like $14,000, she had like a facelift, she had like implants and stuff, and she had like a neck lift, and she looked so freaking good. I was like, that is skill right there. It would be cool to have someone, someone put you under anesthesia, give you a freaking facelift with some dermal implants or something like that. Really cool. So there are sleep lines, and there are, what is it? What, you know, acne scars? There are acne scars. And with that kind of work, you could literally brighten your look, you know? I'm happy that, I still look like I'm, a teenager. Kinda cool. And I was the college is calling me. Should I answer it or should I send him voicemail? Winthrop, the college, was calling me. They're like, Jenny, we need you. You are a famous local streamer. We need you to show on campus and stream an activity. I'm like, that would be cool. That would be cool. That would be amazing. I thought it was spam, but it said Winthrop University, which is I think it's like a 5-star school or something like that. Stiggity. So we were talking about facelifts and stuff, and then we got a call from Winthrop. Maybe, one of their doctors are like, we need people to practice on, we just opened this new cosmetic surgery. Maybe you could be our star, our star to, work on you for free. We'll give you all sorts of cosmetic stuff for free. And, before I was like scared about surgery. Now it's like I think it's like a trend now. We'll give you freaking over $18,000 of work for free. I shall have to call them back. I shall have to call them back. Do you read books other than textbooks? So that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna read to you the university. Search nice.com, search Yahoo. This is Google. I have online flexible coursework and a bachelor's degree this spring. Oh, so they have online university. They have majors and programs. It was founded in 1886, offering bachelor's and master's degrees through both on-campus and online programs. Have upcoming events. Reminds me of that movie that they had what was it? I can't remember the name of the movie. They start a school. Comedy. Where they start a college. I think just call it admission. I'm going to create an AI summary. No, it wasn't admission. This one was Tina Fey and Paula Rudd. So, I know that it had made her look like she was in her 20s or something like that. She's like, I didn't look this good in my 20s. Now you read other books. What kind of books do you read? I adore you. College requires you to read. Your reading comprehension needs to be, stiggity. Gradually, Walu. So it is the same condition. So I had just, tried a new shampoo and conditioner, and I'm seeing, how my hair dries. the new shampoo and conditioner. And stickity. Shout out my multi-millionaires and billionaires in the chat. Moon someone. It's my real name. I have 3 names. You know, it's a Puerto Rican thing. They name you 3 names. I still have this. Still have this boo boo on my knee. I have this boo boo on my knee. And I was running with the camera at nighttime, and I was wearing long pants too. And I tripped, and I fell on my knee, and I had a front flip, and then I had I scraped my elbow. Alina Baraz, there's that one song by Alina Baraz that I have on a CD in my car. True story. Maybe because we're studying. That Winthrop University had called me. And it's funny because I was just talking about how I had recorded my voicemail. I only speak English and French. Well, that is talent. I was watching the Bodyguard. What is it? The Hitman's Bodyguard. First, I watched the Hitman's Bodyguard's wife, the Hitman's wife's bodyguard, and then I watched the Hitman's Bodyguard. It's really good. It was really good. So here in a few weeks, we're going to be having different content, maybe some TikTok Reacts content. My friend was telling me that I should record TikToks. Before they named TikTok, it was called Cheezer. I remember that. TikTok was the name of one of my first gifters. So, bad girls do it well. They live long, while others live fast and die young. Bad girls do it well. live fast, die young. They're not talking about themselves dying. They're talking about the rest of the world. What does it mean? It means that you live long enough to see your younger generations die young. That's how it translates. Ennyarodasi is totally not a male name. M-A-I-L? Sure. Lo-fi is actually, good music to study to. It has a beat to it, and it's just it's good music to study to. Excuse me. So, I was recording my voicemail. It's like, you've reached the voicemail of Jenny Maribel. Please leave your name, number, and a brief message, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks. Beep. Hi. Honestly, never had bubble tea. What are the bubbles? Are those like fish eggs or something? That's what I always thought. I was like, are they having like sweet stuff or coffee with fish eggs? It's kind of weird. Or is it made from Jello or something? I don't know. What is bubble tea made from? It was a new trend here recently. Nobody was talking about it, and all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh my god, I want some bubble tea. I'm craving a bubble tea. Maybe I should Uber Eats some bubble tea." What is bubble tea? Buy bubble tea supply. No, that's not what I asked. What site is this? Wait. Real quick. What? What time is it? In Saudi Arabia? What is bubble tea? Tapioca. So it's made from pudding. Alright. The tapioca pearls they call boba. Isn't there a rice that they make with tapioca? I'm pretty sure there's a rice. I'm pretty sure there's a rice that they make with tapioca. A sweetener and tapioca pearls. Common with tea, milk, or often whole milk. Alright. I normally see people drink the tea and then they leave the tapioca at the bottom. I'm pretty sure that isn't there a rice that's made with tapioca pudding? It's like, they sell, or don't they sell tapioca pudding with rice. You're gonna take admission now? I still have the Winthrop website pulled up. Maybe they found my DJ page and my phone number or something. Maybe they got my phone number from another DJ or something. So I've been drinking my coffee with mushrooms. I've been drinking my coffee. So everyday dope. Dope or doze? What do you think? Is it dope or is it doze? Is it dope or is it doze? Because I don't know if it would be doze. It's a coffee, so it's not supposed to make you like doze off. Doze makes me think of sleeping. Dope makes me think of, alright, we're all freaking doped up and, high on life. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder who you are. Kyle's guess who greets you. I know y'all. Thank you, you embarrassed me. Why? Because I had a phone call from an accredited college. We need to be in touch with ennyarodasi. I do have lucid dreams. And so I have named myself, one of the names that I have named myself is lucidity, which is very close to lucid, which is also used in lucid dreaming. If you have zero motivation, just have a little bit, have some coffee. Mix a little bit of mushroom coffee in there. Good for your brain, Is my age 16? My age just might be 16. Or maybe it's 16 million and it's, it's on the hush, How did you timed my giggle perfectly. I didn't, I read it, herein when shows up then REM. I didn't read the giggle part because I was giggling. We are, you know, this the universe is, you know, stiggity stiggity. I can speak English in about, you know, a million different accents. Solitaire. You know, sometimes the best times you have, you know, viewing a video or viewing someone that you know is whenever they're sitting by themselves and they're just freaking, you know, they're going off. They're freaking having a bunch of conversations and, you know, maybe reading the chat or maybe, you know, just talking to themselves. Some of the all-time best freaking times, you know? I was thinking about inviting some friends to, you know, to come join stream. You know, I don't think I've, you know, other than collaborating with other streamers, I don't think that I have, you know, brought in people that I know, you know, to stream with me. You know, most people that collab on stream, you know, or whatnot, they both have social media followings, they both stream, you know. My friends might have social media followings, they don't really stream, so, you know, I think it would be cool. Uploading with a straight eye. Yeah, they created the thumbnail, and hopefully, you know, sometimes their thumbnails are really, like, what in the freaking poop way? And sometimes their thumbnails are, you know, stiggity stiggity. One of the thumbnails I was looking over, you know, I don't know what I was thinking in that moment. You know, maybe I should bring people on my streams, and then who knows, you know? One day I show up on stream, I'm like, yo, I'm married. No, it's not a mood ring. Good news. I didn't look familiar. Yeah, that is good news because most people stream with people that are familiar. I know I'm familiar from different platforms over the years, streaming with different people, you know, streaming with streamers. Moon Queen question, would you accept a harem? If I was the leader of the harem, heck yeah. I've been mentioning monogamous relationships, you know. I kind of think that was partially that was a trick question. Was that a trick question? Don't I technically have, you know, a harem with y'all? See? It was a trick question. Abdallah! He's like... Are you in my harem? You shall accept. Love you too. Chemistry made physics for me. Love is immortal. Love is immortal. you prefer, spending time. I know you didn't call me it. There was this book that I read called A Child Called It. It was probably one of the most saddest books that I've ever read. Thank God our books are not sad. I was thinking about being an author. I really have. I've thought about being an author. Maybe Winthrop was calling me, they're like, we have the scholarship and, for being an author. And it comes with a free cosmetic surgery. I don't need cosmetic surgery. Though if I have cosmetic surgery, and whenever I'm older, I won't be older. Hey, Lila. Call it dark romance then. Is it because I turned off the light on? Is it dark romance now? You and me can write a dark romance. Call it a dark romance. You ever see the movie A Star Is Born? With Lady Gaga? You guys are like my country songwriter husband. You don't want to be known for who you used to be? Because evolution. We evolve. Caught in dark romance. Caught in dark romance. La 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 la, ma ga ga, ooh la la. What a dark romance. The good thing, amiga. So they were talking about how many pesos it was, and in American dollars it was like 14,000 American dollars. It was a bunch of pesos. Dark romance. I just turned the light back on so you can have some lighting. Amen. Yeah, I slept till around 2 in the afternoon, so that'd be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. in Saudi Arabia. And in Mexico, it would probably be, I think it's 1 o'clock. I think there's a 1 hour difference from here in Mexico. Things are happening around me. You know, that's the thing about the internet. Once you find the place where you feel that you need to be, and where you're loved and where you're needed and where your comments are read and where, the chat is reading your comments and reading the stream, and everyone is one, it's a brigade of one. That's stiggity. Someone who speaks Spanish. So I was thinking about having my mom as a guest and her to teach me Spanish. And then I would speak Spanish to y'all because I think a lot of y'all speak multiple languages and I feel like Spanish is one of your languages. Ali, congratulations. With my sweet cupcake things. Of course you may join the chat. The charlatans. I am from the Charlotte. Well, I am currently in the Charlotte area. From New York, moved to the Charlotte area, and the Charlotte area is like it's kind of a mini New York City. Boom shakalaka. Thanks for naming me a cute cupcake things. Ennyarodasi is a cute cupcake name. Alu Akbar. Boom. I'm sure you get the ball rolling. Ballistics. Are you guys making words from my last name I wonder what Maribel spelled backwards is on that radio. I have to write it down. It would be Labarim. Labarim Jenny spelled backwards is Enish. No, it's Inej. So, this is my right hand on this camera. My right hand on this camera, and it's my left hand on this camera. Shout out to just a little bit of foundation. joint. You know, it's similar to marriage, you know, joint accounts. You guys read Facebook often? I use Facebook similar to my Twitter. There's a way of spelling Ohio. I think still number one. Is mine a new chatter? You're forced to have good grades. You know, you have to work towards, you know, good grades. You love living lately, so Instagram is good. Some people have Instagram, some people have Facebook. Thank you. You think I'm amusing? I was thinking of, you know, having something similar to where I write what I would talk about. And I feel like, you know, just reading the chat and, you know, us talking to each other is more entertaining than, you know, coming up with things to talk about and stuff. That's very interesting. That has something to do with, you know, the Hall of Fame. You know, being inducted into the Hall of Fame. You have to, like, you know, they say look both ways before crossing the road. So you have to, you know. You have to look both ways before crossing the road. You have to look both ways. Big eye crossing the road. No way. Toast my goats. Toast my goats. I still have to. Did you look both ways? I bet you didn't look both ways. Before crossing the road. Okay, so. Anime for kids. Anime. This really teaches you how to be ambidextrous. It teaches you the coordination of ambidexterity. Of course, Hussein is going to comment whenever I'm not looking. Hussein, you're supposed to be moderating the chat, you goober. I'm saying loved whenever I would stream on my mobile stream, and I would read my Lo-Fi Girl chat. You know, one thing I love about Lo-Fi Girl is that me and Lo-Fi Girl are one. You know, anytime I've ever seen somebody read Lo-Fi Girl or something like that in the background, it's kind of hilarious because Lo-Fi Girl doesn't really take to new people, or even especially seasoned streamers that have Lo-Fi Girl on in the background, and they'll try to communicate with Lo-Fi Girl. Lo-Fi Girl's like, nah, fuck that. They're like, we're waiting on our girl Jenny. She'll be back soon. And until then, fuck everybody else. And I think that is, loyal. I think that's very loyal. Muhammad, explain the picture to us. Oh, we did not. We need to have some tomatoes. We have some tomatoes. I have this big box of steak. I think they're called steak tomatoes or something because they're really juicy. And we did it! Everyone has like different signatures, or everyone has different things that they like. Whenever you are, do you like people that, talk shit about you? Or, people that act like they have a problem with you and they've never talked to you? It's different if, I've trolled your stream or something like that. If I have not trolled your stream or not even have brought you up in conversation, I don't think that you have, you're, entertaining enough to have the right direction in life to, have an opinion about me and my chat. You can like what you want. You can like what you want. That is up to you. The things that you support and the things that you don't support. Just because, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm a girl, and I've been around for a while, and I found my place in Lo-Fi Girl Shop. To each their own, to each their own. You learn to smoke. That's right. That's right on. I thought you said you learned to. I thought you said you learned to. I thought you said something else that kind of rhymes with smoke. It's like. I'm trying to bite your ear. Oh, they had the eyeball in the chat. They're like, the eyeball goes a different way. Did you just learn to smoke? I think I just learned to smoke. Don't mind me. I'm quite a comedian of the Hispanic world. That's kind of racist. Is that not kind of racist? I feel like that's kind of racist. Why are you wet? Why are you tagging my man in the chat? I'm just kidding. because I just had a shower. I'm so fresh and so clean. Don't you think I'm so sexy? I'm just so fresh and so clean. I think it's better to have a huge personality than, his name knows exactly what I'm mentioning. Or I was mentioning, You'll realize in different places, like, different versions of, community. Some people are just like, oh, they're like, personality. Oh, there's a dumbass that likes to freaking, look at the ceiling. What's up there? Do you see something up there? Is there something up there? Oh, you just learned to smoke. Right on. You want a round of applause? A round of applause might just, what is that? Curve. I'll be active on socials after exams. We were looking into the admissions of being amazing. They say the first step is admitting, to your lifestyle. My lifestyle is amazing. It's a master lifestyle. Master number is 11. I have to download this on Insta. Why don't you guys have telly? I do have a TV right here. TV right here. And it plays cartoons. Two plus two is a golf swing. 4! Me! Dodge. Equals 5. And some amazing burgers and fries. You ever heard of Five Guys? I bet you they probably, they need to make Five Guys International, similar to how they made McDonald's International. I believe in myself. I believe I can fly. Cats in the box. Is that a new way of sending messages? They're like, yeah, I can hit you a message. I could send you a message. Not only sleeping. I'm pretty sure that is like, I'm pretty sure that is a, what you call that? A genre You know, they have genres of music. You know, they have genres of channels. Is it because my bed is in the background? Is it because my bed is in the background? That I'm educated and like this. I'm holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. I want to feel you. To see you high lifted up. Shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love. We sing holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. I want to feel you. I lift it up. Shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love. 'Cause we say holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. I want to read you. To read you high and lifted up. Shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love. 'Cause we sing holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. I want to feel you. Feel you high, live it up. Shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love. We sing holy, holy, holy. This is the favorite hour of my day. You know, with this study session. Yippee! Hi. Hi. My life monster. Thank you. How are you? Rawr. I'm rawr. See a freaking dinosaur freaking running on Twitch. You have 1,000,000 reasons to feel loved. Oh, I did some Punjabi. Haji. Haji. You found me pleasant. I found your comment pleasant. You change every day. Every time I come here, I find that I'm displaying another, another part of my personality. Yesterday I was full of good advice. Today, I'm talking about, college and stuff. When am I going to have a sleep stream? Whenever we have more subs, of course. Are you wanting to recognize me lay in my bed? I can still read your comments. It's quite cozy from this angle. It is quite cozy from this angle. Watch out and let me holy, 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 holy. A dark fantasy manga inspired by Alice in Wonderland and Lovecraft twisted fantasies cosmic horror and Christopher Lloyd. You know, this is kind of a, you know, it is kind of an Alice in Wonderland. Woo! Thank you, 10 Math to God. Thank you. And I shall buy another pizza. You know, and I'm working on, so I've had this bump right here. And I haven't even eaten any pizza in freaking forever. Shout out 10 Math the God. 10 Math the God. So until my mic, I'm waiting on my mic. It's probably somewhere in storage, but as it's 90 degrees throughout the day, it's probably 100 degrees in my storage unit. So, ordered a new mic. And it should be here, you know, in around a week or so. For example, there's this program that I have been, you know, accepted into, to where they mail me my medicines for free, rather than me having to pay for it at the pharmacy. And it's normally, you know, it's kind of slow. It's like 10 to 15 days before you receive your medicine. And my doctor only wrote me a 30-day prescription. I'm like, what in the freaking fupa? I'm gonna have my medicine for 10 days, then I'm gonna have to call them, you know, to send me more medicine, because, you know, for 10 to 15 days, you know, it takes them to process the, you know, the order for, you know, the pharmacy order and stuff, you know. So I was like, why did you not write me a 90-day prescription? You know, y'all are having me out here doing more work than I, you know, and then I have to keep up with the, you know, once I have my medicine, I can have my medicine for about 10 days, and I'm not going to wait till 15 days, you know, because if I receive my medicine on the 15th day, or beyond the 15th day, then I'll be out of medicine. And I already have I don't know, 5 days left of medicine. And they said that they were gonna, they put in the order on Monday. 10 to 15 days after Monday is whenever I'll receive my medicines. And the thing is, this is the catch. All the medicines are free. I don't have to spend $100, or over $100 at the pharmacy. One of my medicines are $800. And I was like, and that's for, that's for something that is, very widely prescribed. Thank God for Medicaid and stuff, because, I feel like Medicaid is really, a part of the American way, people are like, oh man, I haven't, and this is the thing, because within our constitutional rights, there's, health, our tax dollars are spent on health care, And if you've ever paid taxes, then, you want to receive some of the benefits of your taxes. Medicaid is kind of very close to free health care. And adults now can reapply for Medicaid, and it's nice for children because my mom works with the state, and some of the kids that she has to interpret for, there are occupational therapists, physical therapists, speech therapists, speech pathologists, and early interventionists that, travel to the homes of some kids that have Down syndrome, some kids are autistic, and this is from 0 to 3, because they did studies, and the studies prove that if the child is, mentally disabled in the way of, of being autistic, or having Asperger's, or having, Down syndrome, if they have early intervention, there's more of a percentage of chance that the child can grow up to be more independent. If they don't have, and these programs are, a lot of the times the parents are utilizing Medicaid to, to fund their, their child being, being seen by a doctor, being seen by, specialists, and, Medicaid covers it. Medicaid, is a part of the state, and then, Medicaid will pay into this, because my mom gets paid through the state. Marvelous Cupcake. I used to be an early interventionist. I used to work as an early interventionist for children 0 to 3 that had, disabilities. And most likely, disabilities that would affect the child for, for their whole life. So we'd have to, kind of sort of tame these children and teach them ways to, sometimes there's, a 3-year-old that doesn't know how to speak, speak a word. They're nonverbal. Sometimes there's a 1-year-old that can't lift their head up on their own, So, and sometimes, there's a 3-year-old that needs to be in a, body brace, and learn how to stand on their own. There's so many different, cases that I've worked with, and I know for a fact that their parents utilize Medicaid so they can receive these services. So in a lot of ways, Medicaid is a godsend for adults, for middle-aged people, for babies. I didn't read the question. God relieve it. This question is booby trap. Some people would rather have big personality than big boobs, Some people, a handful is enough. So you guys remember when I just had the background, when I just had this mushroom background, and it had, it took up the full screen behind me. It almost looked as if I had most people were like, is that a green screen? I was like, nah, it's my tapestry. And I was learning about EFT tapping. There is this one, is like, you clap your hand 9 times. You clap your armpit 9 times. You clap your other armpit 9 times. Then you clap where your bra strap is. Where your other bra strap is. So if you go for it. And then there's EFT tapping, where you tap the meridians on your body. If you have ever had, what is it? Acupuncture. If you ever had acupuncture, then, sometimes they'll acupuncture, your face or whatever. I've had acupuncture in my ears before. I have a picture where I've had acupuncture. So that's my ear. That's my ear. And all the little orange things are needles. I can show you this video. I'm sure. Well, not acupuncture, EFT tapping.
Here is one that I find is really good for folks going into flashbacks or folks that are prone to dissociate, and it's EFT. It's emotional freedom technique, and basically what it is meridian tapping. Okay, if you're not familiar with it, I'm going to go over it just one round. You can rewind as many times as you want to see it. But the base, if you want to get the whole manual for free, it's at www.emofree.com, and it is Gary Craig's work. He took the work of Roger Callahan and he made it so every man can use it. So he uses it for a lot of things, and there are plenty of people that use this in therapy. They use it outside of therapy. They use it from anything to get their tennis game better, to incontinence, to trauma therapy, all these things. But what I use it for is I teach my clients the tapping points so they can get themselves grounded in the present. So it means they can be embodied, they can know where they are. So the questions are, who are you, when are you, and where are you? So if they don't know the answers to that, this is one of the things that you're really going to be able to do with your clients, and they can do this at home. It's very easy to learn. So the things that I teach my clients, I don't teach them to do any sort of therapy with themselves. What I teach them to do is, even though I feel scared, or even though my body is scared, we know it's compelling as hell that their body is scared. So it feels like they're back in the trauma, even if it's just a body memory. They feel like they're back in the trauma, or they may actually have the entire flashback. So what I teach them to do is, even though my body feels scared, it's not happening now. Or even though I have scared body, which is what my clients say, even though I have scared body, it's over. Any of those things, but this basically we're going to do that one. So the first thing you do is you find your collarbone, and there's a bump there. So you go down about 1 inch, and then you go over about 2 inches. And you'll notice that it's a neurolymphatic, but you'll notice that it's sore. So there's a sore spot. So what we're going to do is we're going to massage it clockwise. And as you massage it, you're just going to take some slow, deep breaths in. It's a little painful. It shouldn't be terribly painful. It looks like it's painful for some of you. So then we go back counterclockwise. Okay, so that's the sore spot, all right? So once you're done with that, you take a deep breath in, and we're going to say, even though my body feels scared, it's not happening now. That's the one we're going to do. So you start with a karate chop point, and you can see the tapping points are either behind me or somewhere now. I don't know where. So you're going to do, even though my body feels scared, it's over, as you tap on the karate chop point. And you go up here to on the inside of the eye, even though my body feels scared, it's over. And then you go to the side of your eye. Even though my body feels scared, it's over. Under the eye, even though my body feels scared, it's over. Under the nose, even though my body feels scared, it's over. Below the lip, even though my body feels scared, it's over. On the collarbone, even though my body feels scared, it's over. Where the bra strap will be if you're female, and where the bra strap would be if you had to wear one and you were a male. Even though my body feels scared, it's over. And then the top of your head, even though my body feels scared, it's over. A lot of people like to use this point, which is right here, and it's between these two knuckles and down a little bit. And use all your fingers. It's called the fear tap point, a gamut point, or it's called, this is a fear tap. So some folks will sit in group and they'll just tap on this the entire time in group to keep themselves grounded here, embodied, and it has a reputation of working to keep the fear at bay. So we're going to go back in. We're going to have you take a deep breath in and out. I always do a second round before I check in. So we do karate chop point again. Even though my body feels scared, it's over. In the inside of your eye, even though my body feels scared, it's over. Outside of your eye, even though my body feels scared, it's over. Under the eye, even though my body feels scared, it's over. Over top of the upper lip, even though my body feels scared, it's over. Under the lip, even though my body feels scared, it's over. On the collarbone, even though my body feels scared, it's over. On the bra strap, even though my body feels scared, it's over. It doesn't matter what hand you use, even though my body feels scared, it's over. So take a deep breath in. Let it all out. Now I want you to close your eyes if you're comfortable and open them up. Look down hard to the left and then hard to the right. Okay? So then you're going to follow my finger. You're going to bring your eyes clockwise around. Don't move your head, you're just moving your eyes, and then you're going to follow it counterclockwise, just with your eyes, not with your head. Take a deep breath in and out. Okay, so after we went clockwise and counterclockwise, now we're going to, it gets weird here, just so you know. So I'm going to have you hum happy birthday. Now you're going to count by fours. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Stop, take a deep breath in and out. And now you're going to check in with your body. Notice if there's been any change. It may have gotten worse, it may feel the same, it may have gotten better. Doesn't matter, we're doing it again. So the karate chop point again. Even though my body feels scared, say I'm safe now, or even though my body feels scared, it's over. 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 Take a slow deep breath in and out. Check in with your body. Just notice, whatever you notice is fine. If the feeling of fear is still there, or the feeling of flashback is still there, you're going to keep doing this until it goes away, and it does go away. I've had most of the people that have ever done it have said, well, the people that will do it, which is about 50% of your people, will do it. If you do it with them, you'll have a higher percentage rate of people conforming. Once something works, people will use it. But it kind of is shame-inducing when you're having people tap on all these parts. You might have noticed that when you were doing it yourself. But if you do it with your client, and as a matter of fact, if you do it with your client, it's a very good thing because you get less traumatized and you actually be able to calm yourself down while you're in session. But when you do these things with the client is more likely to do them. And once a client does them and he or she feels better, they're much likely to use it on the outside. So that is emotional freedom technique in a nutshell.
So it uses your main meridians right here, 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 and right here. And normally you would repeat a mantra. And so the only reason that I didn't follow along with it is because I still have some pizza stuff on my hands. Some pizza grease on my hands, so that is EFT tapping, and similar to acupuncture because those are the main meridians of your body, and it kind of works, with, placebo healing almost, and natural healing, because you are tapping on the main energy points of your body. So whenever there is there are many meridian points in your body, and acupuncture works with the main meridian points. They say that if you're having a stressful day, or having a panic attack or something, to rub on your ear helps with your anxiety and your mood levels. And I've had acupuncture acupuncture in my ear. And so, yeah, that is EFT tapping. So hopefully you guys learned something new today. And also your ears work with sobriety. Hey Sam, look beautiful as always. Thank you. You're wonderful as always. I try to. That happens. Yeah, it relaxes your body. It balances out the natural frequencies of your body, because your brain works with your body through some electromagnetics, send signals to different parts of your body. And whenever there's something that they call self-talk, and whenever you practice self-talk, you are working with your placebo mind. And placebo is great because there's been placebo studies, and placebo studies have shown to work better than medicine sometimes. And she said to look down to the left, look down to the right, and then follow your hand clockwise, and follow your hand counterclockwise. You think I'm the same person? I think that I've changed. I think that I have evolved. Stickity. I had my medicine a few hours before I streamed. And so the technique you can practice while you're, if you're on medicine, if you're not on medicine. Hi, Dylan. How are you today, Dylan? If I am doom is written in my future, then I will accept it gladly and apologize, and for anything I caused you, which I did you, I apologize. Says, hi, what's up? He said, good. Happy that you're doing good. Stiggity, stiggity. You guys remember whenever I would stream on Up Live, and we would pretty much run that site, wouldn't we, Dylan? We never talked about it. Everyone understands us. She's rehabbing and she'll be back soon. Stiggity, stiggity. Shout out to the WWE Divas. I always thought that this is something that I could do. Be a WWE diva. I used to watch WWE and WWF all the time. Whenever they had Celebrity Deathmatch in Claymation, that was always amazing. Hasnain woke up LOL from sleep. They're all realizing that my bed is in the background. I told them for more subs on Twitch and YouTube that I would have a sleep stream. Do you know what she's rehabbing from or rehabbing for? There's definitely Jordanians in the chat. I'm technically in a outpatient rehab for drinking and stuff. So I haven't had a drink in a few months. It's been a few months. I'm sober as a judge. Was it yesterday? I had my drug test, and I know that I'm clean. I had this letter from the last drug test that I've had. They draw a smiley face on it. Negative, 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 negative. Stiggity, stiggity. slept is weird from the... No, so they were telling me that I need to sleep, that I need to stream whenever I wake up. And so I woke up around 2 and I ate some waffles, had some coffee, and had a shower. And then around 3 or so, is it 3 or 4? I think it was around 4. Yeah, it was around 4. I had started to stream, and it was, and I've been streaming ever since. You're playing Genshin Impact? I need a disk drive. Is it a disk drive or is it something that you download? I'm not sure. Because I know that is it a PC game or is it for a game station? You have to download from their site. Alright. So whenever you buy the game in the store, it has like the codes and stuff so where you can download it online. Alright, PC on the computer online. I would stream from 4 to 6 hours. We need more subs for me to be streaming that long. It became a situation. I remembered a story. Here I'm coming. With a trophy. It's free anyway. Oh, you downloaded it for free? How did you download it for free? Like off of Steam or something? Do you have a Steam account? Yes, off of Steam. My friend said that they can give me a Steam account. So we can play some games. For God's sake, we will cry. Well, I'll still read the chat. I have to figure out how I can, read the chat and, and things and stuff and such. I could read my stream chat just fine. From their official website. So you have to download it on Steam, and then, the online codes or something from the official website. That's for Steam. Alright. So the official website of Steam. Trying to figure it out because my friend said that they would give me a Steam account, and there's a bunch of games for free on Steam, and it's really cool. Is anybody watching the anime? It exploded the bread. I've always made time for you guys. There's steam. There's a Steam account. Play some games. I think I'm in just chatting. I forget the stream tags that I use. If it was just chatting, or if it was, I think it was Puerto Rican. It was like, I think it was like Puerto Rican girl. Something like that. That's where you went. The official Genshin Impact website is on Steam. Really? That's really cool. I just found out the official Genshin Impact is on Steam. I think my mom's cooking some dinner. Y'all are rowdy today, boy. Y'all are rowdy today. You're like, ennyarodasi's online, ennyarodasi's online. It's my favorite hour, 2 hours a day. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Yee! It was nice to cuddle. So I laid in bed because they kept on talking about sleeping. I was like, are you talking about sleeping because my bed is right behind me? Everyone is welcome in the chat. Change. This is an eclectic chat. It's on a spectrum of amazingness. This is a spectrum of amazingness. You gave me good news? A dash. Have you ever heard the song Dots and Dashes? It's a Silver Sun pickup song. I've seen Silver Sun pickups live. I have class on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And then I have the weekends off. Live stream! Had a burpee. Check yourself and you'll understand. This is a French accent. ennyarodasi, they're kind of set free. Shout out to my subscribers. Shout out to my subscribers. You already subscribers? Well, shout out to you. You know she's been missing you. Shout out to my hellos. Are you still downloading Genshin Impact? Season. The slice of pizza for lunch because yesterday I had 5 pieces of pizza. He will come back. He's my moderator. He's my admin. I've talked to you quite a bit today. I think I've talked to everyone quite a bit today. Water gun. Let's hydrate. My dick. From Wonderlust. Paul Rudd was hilarious in that movie. Carl. Bali. That sounds like I'm a little Bali. I thought you were talking about cartoons. Welcome to Up. Put your right arm in, you put your right arm out, you put your right arm in, and shake on back. That's what it's all about. Stickity. What is the trending thing on TikTok is skibbity. I couldn't say stickity, so like skibbity. Imagine that I named you Yasin. Welcome to Live Up, to the nickname of ennyarodasi. Praying to God that she's not shadow banned, for our, we had 1 million subscribers and they only showed 100. You always have to ask yourself, what if? What if there's 1 million viewers and they only show us a handful? I'm sorry! Been playing FIFA for about 10 minutes. I'm not that one. There's what is it? Fiercely Modest again. Don't worry, I'm sure that part will be edited out of the video. Okay. Is it T or is it C? Beza, I'm fine, thank you. How are you? Stickity, stickity. You guys were close. Why abandon like that? I replied to you above. A lie! It was not a lie. There's a sense of meaning in the nonsense that you say. Truth. Facts. Who's my darling? You guys remember the day where I was swimming? Oh my God, how did you laugh? Hey there, Delano, what's it like in New York City? I'm 1,000 miles away. Girl, tonight you look so pretty, yes you do. Times Square can't shine as bright as you. I swear it's true. Hey there, Delano, you be good and don't you miss me. 2 more years and we'll be done with school, and I'll be making history like I do. You know it's all because of you. You know it's true. Oh, it's what you do to me. Oh, it's what you do to me. Good night. Oh, it's what you do to me. Oh, it's what you do to me. What you do to me. I knew you cared about her. The whole chat knew. I don't believe in the issue of watching water every time. You know that saying? You know, it's like, you know, when a day can last a lifetime. I feel like that isn't that a Titanic song? So I was mentioning that, and I'll mention it again. I was swimming, and one of my sister's youngest is in the pool, and there are steps. There are like 4 steps. Now on the second step, the water is like up to here. On the third step, the water is above her head, and on the 4th step, it's even higher above her head, and then on the 5th step is the ground, and it's above her head. And so she had a fearlessness about her, where she was like, every time she would jump in, she was like, she can't swim. So I'd grab her, and then she'd start flailing, and she'd like kick me, and I'd be like, oh, oh, and I'm holding her. And I set her on the steps. And then she would walk on the steps, not where I was standing. She'd walk on the steps. And then she'd jump into the water. And and I'm like, oh my God, she's drowning! So I got her. I'd hold her, and she's flailing. She's kicking her legs and stuff. She's strong. She's a strong girl. She's kicking me in the stomach. I'm like, oh my God! So I would set her on the steps. Kept on doing the same thing over again. We're like, well, maybe we have her, some swimmies or something. Put some swimmies on her. Because when she jumps in the deep end, she won't fucking drown every time. She'll kind of float. She'll kind of float. Don't deny your depression. And we're talking about depression, and people who blame things on other people. They're like, oh, sometimes whenever you're depressed, you give yourself more reason to be depressed, rather than accepting the fact. Oh, that's the name of the movie. It was Acceptance. Heck, TFs. Hey, thank you. So, I had a call from Winthrop University. I have to return the call. Willy. That's where a day can last, a lifetime. That had required effort, That had required, trudging, through the essence of depression, accepting where you're depressed and making sure that you're not, blowing up on people, where you're not blowing up on people, and that's alright, you have to make stories, you have to experience life, you have to not blame your depression on people. Whenever you're depressed, there's more of a chance that people will make you more upset. And if you have depression, there's a chance that people can make you happy. And whenever you are depressed or have anxiety, people can lessen your anxiety and can calm you, from yourself, and you can calm yourself from yourself by exuding effort, A little bit of effort never hurt the donkey. It gave the donkey a purpose, Must have blocked everywhere. I'm Yo-Yo. You were riding, so where did you go? You could ride a donkey. You know what they say about assumptions? Ian is still trying to write all. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. This is what it sounds like whenever you jump in the deep end without floaties. You're like, are you really making a generation? Or are you just, teaching people that, adults have, they're like, I can't hold my head above water. I feel like she's my girlfriend. It's only a cover. A coincidence? Mustafa's like, I'd have to drink to this. When will you not fool people? Maybe if you make stories for yourself rather than, trying to be a tidbit in everyone else's story. Make more stories in your, for your life. Realize that, you're exuding effort to be a part of people's stories and to evolve your story. Wait, we're gonna build a lake. We're gonna build a lagoon. Cats in the box. Cat box. They have those adult swimmies that you can, you put on your arm, God safety elegant. That's why we have the bottle of water. I drink all my coffee, then I drink all my water. That is rude. Shout out to those people that, they're like, oh, I think I'm changing the generation, when all they're doing is creating karma for themselves, and then, they're like, oh, I'm going to be mad at the person that, brought me good karma. I'm like, alright, peace be upon you. Don't you love whenever older people, they're like, I'm going to gentrify myself into the younger generation, and they just make a fool of themselves? There's about 1 million ways to be communicative, and Everything's not all sunshine and yellow roses for ennyarodasi. You know, there's no W in team. Wean. So you have to wean yourself from your karmic ways. Yeah, whenever you don't have, whenever you are, they say, you have the blinders on, you're not, worried about the stuff in your peripheral. And maybe it's the stuff in your peripheral that, that matters. Wait, brother, I'm going to tell you right now. 2 hours ago. We are happy to hear that you are in the chat and not being such a, you're being a selective negative Nancy, I can definitely give people things to talk about whenever you're in chat, which might be a little bit more entertaining, because, you don't think I know how references work? Oh, they made me angry. They ridiculed by the many things that Alma drank in the sea. That made sense to all of, 2 people. They were like, oh my gosh, didn't you hear about how ennyarodasi drank coffee and water? Oh my god, me. I hope you have an amazing conversation, about how I drink my mushroom coffee, I drink my water, people that, there's a whole psychology about people that hate. They're like, I have depression. I don't know how to be I don't know how to be an entertaining person. I'm just going to be a hater. Are you really making generations like better, or are you just being a little shit? And not in the ways that, I'd be, a little shit. Sometimes I'd be a little shit, and, I make the generations. You be a little shit, and you fuck up the things that I have, began to, inspire. You're like, I have depression, and I feel like I have to say about everything. People feel bad about you. They're like, we'll give you the key to the chat. Sit over there and roll around in flowers some more. It's kind of entertaining. Everybody in the chat's like, look at that guy, he's rolling around in flour. Yeah, in this generation, that's kind of entertaining. I don't think that you're influencing the generation other than being like, haha. There's the EXP points, right? Whenever you spam the chat, and then you can receive a badge for being #1 chatter. Good job. Hopefully that helps you with your depression. I don't necessarily think a person that has manic depressive, depressiveness, I'm gonna share all my manic depressive thoughts. All right, keep on rolling around in flour. You're or whenever you're talking about Elden Ring and all this stuff and things, you're like, I'm gonna roll around in flour. All right, let's make that guy mud. It'll give us something to laugh about. You reminded me that we can actually have, we can actually have conversations, that are valid towards the world and everything in it. I'm pretty sure 3-4 months ago, whenever I was, whenever we were displaying the chat all the time, you were one of the chatters that were like, we're like, yay, there's that guy. Now we're like, oh my god, there's that guy again. What kind of unsticky thing does he have to say? you know? It's saved. It's called saved. We saved your life. You know?
You got tissues?
Yeah. Bacon wrap. We saved your life! With this plate right here. You never said it. You don't have to. We know you love us. We know that you have a hell of a time showing it. I was pretty much being the lifeguard. I would place her on the stairs. She would walk off. She's like, I'm alright, I'll stay on the stair. I look over and she's thrashing in the water. Her head's underwater, and she barely knows how to hold her breath. I'm like, oh my god. Ah! Breathe, little child, breathe! Patting her back. She's like, I'm like, don't swallow the water.
Give me your plate for a second. Just show it to me. So I'm undercooked, but I can finish cooking it.
Hey, can you grab this? Never mind. That was a strong little girl too, for real. But I would be holding her, and you know, while I was holding her, and you know, like, oh, you're swimming! You're swimming! You know, she was like kicking her legs and stuff. She's like, I'm swimming! I'm swimming! I was holding her. You're swimming. You're swimming. Stiggity, stiggity. You're swimming. We're holding you above water. Isn't that Annie song? Just so happens to be. No, you cannot talk whenever you're underwater. You just I think you're trying to communicate. Okay, we understand what you're saying. What is that guy saying? What is that guy saying? You're doing great! You're doing great! Yeah? Oh! So you know me in real life, you just want to see if I'll, you know, it's like, does she care enough about me? Will she talk about me on her streams? You know, that's definitely some psychotic stuff. You know, trying to talk underwater. Like, are you trying to make whale sounds? Are you trying to communicate with me? He's like, oh man, I don't understand comedic. Right? Like, oh, why is this girl? Like, I talk to girls. They're not comedic. They're just retarded. Forgive me for my accent. You know, that was I'm not an anti-feminist. He has the right, come and believe him. You know, probably why we're not friends on Facebook. The chat kept on spamming that I blocked you. I'm like, I didn't block him. You know, I be knowing my chat. Ted's like, you remember me? I'm like, of course I remember you. If I've talked to you before, and then I know how you talk online. You know, it's kind of like whale communication. Have you ever watched Finding Dory? Like, woo! Oh, I hope that it segments. You know, there's some videos where where it would cut out for a second and it would come back. Or sometimes they'll have like multiple 20-minute videos, or they'll have that is the bee's knees, because sometimes they'll have 20 minutes of 20 minutes of content, right? Recently. And then before they would have they would pause it and they'd restart it. And so I'd have multiple clips rather than just one clip. No, that has nothing to do with... They were asking me about being the Hiram. The Hiram talisman. The Hiram talisman. You have reached the voicemail box of Jay Merrill. I'm not currently available right now, so leave me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Or leave me a message with your name, number, or is it, leave me your name, is it, tell me your name, number, and a brief message, and I'll be back to you as soon as possible. Thank you. My name is what? Wham Auntie Benita, Alaya Intawama, Mankash, Dodge. I've not been drinking today. That wasn't he spamming gay African the other day? He was like, gay African, gay African. He must be a brownie. With his name is White, because he's like, I'm a dedicated moderator for a white. Woo! Thank you. What is it? It's a
Short rib.
It's a short rib.
A beef short rib.
Beef short rib. Looks delicious. So, like, if I have a 3-hour stream, maybe they could piss their... Sorry. No, I meant maybe they could pick my best clips. Got some butter. My bad. That is my bad. I'm not gonna just, Ooh, thank you. A little bit of foundation, and just a little bit of lipstick. Bounce. Alright. Yeah, Is it marijuana, please? Peace be upon you. Important. What's wrong with you? And don't tire a day. And I pray for patience. Well, pray for patience. You view our chat as a mistake. Remember whenever me and Andrew made the stiggity language, and it was like a mix between, it was kind of a mix, it was like our own big Latin and gibberish. He said, I don't think we asked you what you wanted because you're not being very polite. You'll be a special case. That one is scary. I think we had mentioned that a little bit earlier. It's fun part because Melissa's not in chat. Consciousness. Yes, love is with you, man. And with you, life is also with you. So Eva is vegan. I can understand that it could be, a little disappointing whenever, you know someone in real life and they find it only necessary to see what it's like to be communicated with you through virtual. Though they're basing it on all of their 50 other online connections or something. Or 50 real life connections that is not based on online virtual connections. And then maybe a little bit of both. Like for the other big friends, the other day, he was getting mad at me because I was mentioning that I had boyfriends that are white, like long-term relationships with guys that are white. And he kept on calling me a gay African. Like, what? Your screen name is white. Who do you really have allegiance to? You're gonna call me a gay African. It's like, seriously, you kept on spamming gay African. Like, why are you spamming that? My bad. Did I say that? That's not how you spell green. Are you talking to me in that window right now? Was that the red eye flight? Yeah, that was probably, I'd have a seat on the red eye flight. Right, guys? Oh my God. Didn't you know that I'm dangerous?
I saw you at the end of that night.
You're only saying that because my Google search, I was like, what is the time difference of here in Saudi Arabia?
I was staring at your lips. I don't think I've ever
that one, Are you talking to Saudi Arabians? That one. Exactly. Quick.
I never felt this way, ooh.
Also, that is actually funny. Oh yeah, having a speaking underwater contest.
I just bought myself a double and I'm thinking about you. Every time I see your face, I think of what I lost. How could I love
Yeah, because I could joke on anyone online harder than they could freaking make a freaking meme. What's at McDonald's? I didn't do something about Five Guys. What are they going to make Five Guys moving after that? The food is very consistent. I don't even know if they have an online base. Maybe they do. If they're maybe on it. I don't know how that page is with their menu on it. It's what Uber Eats. You can call it a ruse on those that started to serve. Call it a free over. I mean, some people enjoy their own company, so. Whoa, this is holiday. Don't you think Santa sings LOL because he can't miss laws? He's like, you guys are LOL. Not holiday. That's true. I name literally said was relevant. That was probably the most relevant comment in that thing 3 hours ago. Or maybe. I mean, they did make that whole story about Adam and Eve. They even made a store about it. I knew it all wins. And how did his name say it? You know, with my, you know, how did it say it? We can write that down. All things from the classic time. All things. Dang! I'm sorry, I missed the comment when you were asking me about it. I wrote that down. With all things come to pass time. Did you read that out of a book or something? Dang! Hasnae with the good comments today. Ooh, my stickers are lit. Outcome. History is a day. Stop that. You know, that's the beautiful thing about relationships. You know, because sometimes you can agree to disagree. Serious, I didn't say that in my video. Nah. Uganda. We should have a segment where hula. Hula. So, here's table on the bed, and I'm excited at him. I bet you're talking about crotch rockets. Like, there are like Harley Davidsons, and then there are Sorry. Jeez Louise. Is that right to you? Oh, look. There's some critical thinking to say. Critical thinking is good. It makes the day. I thought you were talking about an R6. An R6 or an R7. Coggy home. Speaking of movies. Do they have 1917 movies on Netflix? So I watched the Wife's Bodyguard, and then I watched the Hitman's Bodyguard. I didn't know that it was a series, and that's really good that they're making it into a series because both movies are really good. And so I have to watch the Hitman's Bodyguard first, and then you have to watch the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. The most beautiful separations of others. Miracle Ladybug and Black Cat. Hannah Cruz does not think at all. He's a real winner because eventually you're just on that person. Don't overthink. Yes, I saw my moon again. Clouds came, clouds rain, clouds came in 6, and lost of the rain. It's poetic. It's poetic. Of course. You can tell whenever you're talking, only talk in certain tops, so you rarely hear their voice, or you rarely read, what's on their mind. So there's that song Overthinker. And there's Overthinker. And there's the Overthinker that is selecting with how they look at. You remember when I heard that song? He's always that man. He's like, I'm not overthinking. We shall find ways that we can overthink together. It was a year or two ago. So thank God I remember you. Also, you have a different user. Yes, saying PFP. The same PFP. The same PFP. An R6? So I was thinking about